Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have set number 79108. This is the LEGO Lone Ranger Stagecoach Escape, which was released in 2013 as part of the small Lone Ranger wave. It contained 279 pieces and 5 minifigures, plus 3 horses for $29.99, which, looking back, that's actually a pretty awesome deal, especially with the 3 animals in one set. But I got this recently for $40, so a little bit over retail price. But I've been sort of getting into collecting some of the Lone Ranger sets. So let's take a look at this one and see how it is. We will start off by taking a look at the sort of side build here, which is just a horse. And this the guy riding it is named Barrett. We'll see him with the minifigures later. But there are 3 horses in the set, and the other 2 work the same way. They're just used as part of the Stagecoach, so they don't, I don't want to have to take them off to show you how they work, but you're able to move the hind legs, which basically allows you to rear up the horse. I guess you could do it like that if you wanted to, but that just looks a little weird. And in addition to that motion, you're also able to move the head up and down, which is pretty cool. And there is some good printing on that head there for the horse. It looks pretty good, but this horse is not exclusive to the set. It appeared in a couple others, I think, at least one from the LEGO movie. But it's a pretty good looking thing, and I do like the horse redesign. This was one of the first sets that you're able to get this horse redesign in. It was introduced, I think, this year, but it might have been 2012. But the saddle piece is the same one that they've been using for a while. Has 2 studs in there for you to put a minifigure on, and has 2 clips, which here it just attaches Barrett's accessories, which are a stick of dynamite and one of these rifle pieces. And if you don't want someone to be riding the horse, they do also include this brick and plate, which allow you to just fill that in, so you just have a wild horse now. And they do also include 2 of those same assemblies in black for the other 2 horses that are pulling the Stagecoach, if you did want to remove them. Now, the only other thing that you build separately is this little safe here, and this can be transported on top of the Stagecoach, and this would basically most likely be what Barrett and Jesus are after here, what they're trying to steal. And it's a dark green and gray safe here. It does open up like that. There's no secret combination or anything, so it's easy to break into, I guess. You can have a minifigure hold it. It's really big compared to a minifigure, and they can't quite reach the ground unless they hold it out in front of them like this with another figure. It'd be nice if we could focus. There we go. But yeah, they can just hold it like that, and I guess if we were to grab Jesus here and put the other one in the other side in his hands, they're able to support it off the ground. So, I guess if they want to be doing it that way, they're welcome to. But inside, there's 1 bar of silver, so sort of a lot of carrying just to get one silver bar. But those silver bars are only in a couple of Lone Ranger sets and are not present anywhere else. And here we have the Stagecoach all built here, and the 2 horses on the front are, basically just the same thing as what we saw before, though they are done up in black and have a slightly different printed design on the head. But both of these horses are exactly the same, and they are able to turn side to side, and they turn separately from the axles. So the axle of the Stagecoach can turn like that, and there's a ball joint here as well. And I guess if you do go over some sort of bump or anything, it is a ball joint, so there's a little bit of up and down flexibility as well. If you're really careful about it, you can position that string so that it ends up in a driver's hands, but since it doesn't have any bars or anything and you can't really attach it, as soon as you turn the horses at all, it will just come right out of their hands. So it doesn't work that great, unfortunately. You could pull it down here and just make it look like it's going up to there, and that works a little bit better, but still, it doesn't work as effectively as it could. But it's not too bad. And you could just also, if you wanted to, just kind of loop that up and just kind of make it sit down here. You're also able to relatively easily remove these from the Stagecoach, and the Stagecoach doesn't look that great. Like, if you're going to do this, you might as well just remove the whole front bit here. But the horses are just like that now, and as I showed before, you do have these assemblies here where you can just make them wild horses now. So that's useful, and it's always nice that LEGO just includes this one extra little assembly just in case you want to remove it. And, it's sort of like the same thing as including alternate hair pieces for minifigures when you give them a hat, but they don't do that super often. So I guess it's nice that they're able to include them here at least. The Stagecoach itself, moving back here, does have these dark tan wheels, and the one thing that's a little bit weird is sometimes when you're turning this around, the front axle really likes to move side to side, so it sort of just wants to do its thing. And it's sometimes a little bit distracting, but it generally works out pretty well, generally speaking. We do also have a little bit of almost suspension, just in the fact that there's just some natural flex in these brown parts here that allow this to sort of move up and down. So if you're like maybe running over something small like this rifle, it'll be able to get over that with no problem. But again, it's just something that's a little bit interesting about this thing's design. We do have these little steps here, which would basically allow a minifigure to sort of pretend to walk up there, though the doors only actually open that high. I think, in reality, this whole section would open up, but unfortunately, with that stripe in there, there's no way for LEGO to have just built it properly. We do have these stickers on each side, and one saying Stagecoach, which that's a really nicely designed sticker, looks pretty good. And just turning to the back, this section here actually has a little bit of a play feature, which is that if you push down on this, this will pop open and out flies this briefcase, which is the luggage that you brought with you, I guess. And that works pretty effectively, pretty much all the time. So that's nothing important. And this briefcase has nothing inside of it; it's just there. Though it is one of those ones that you can open up. And then, turning it around to this side, looks basically the same, just slightly mirrored stickers. But otherwise, it's just is what it is. And up here at the front section, there is just a 2x3 space for a driver to sit. And Tonto isn't really a professional Stagecoach driver, but you can use him in the set, and that's what they show on the box. So I guess the Lone Ranger and Tonto are stealing a Stagecoach or something. And if a Stagecoach does appear in the movie, there is no heist scene or anything. If it's there, it's just in the background. So, LEGO basically just made this setup, but they did a pretty good job with it, and it does look Lone Ranger-like. So you can stick this safe up here on the roof, and there is also this little bag up here with a letter printed up on it. And I just threw Tonto's other accessories inside of that, but they sort of fell out. But you can remove this whole Stagecoach roof and get access to the interior, which is able to fit a couple minifigures. I have two of them standing up here, mainly just because Red can't sit with that cape. But on the inside, it's actually pretty well decorated. They have these panels here with stickers that create the backs of the seats, and those are really nicely designed stickers, I think. You could probably do a little bit better with the placement so that you don't get that little stripe of red, but like if you move the sticker all the way down to the bottom of the part, and then it would probably look slightly better, but even the way it is now, it looks pretty good. And again, you can sort of open those up to get a little bit better access. Maybe if you drop something in there, you can kind of reach through here. But again, those don't really allow any practical access for minifigures, because it's shorter than they are. I guess you could stick them in like that, so that doesn't make too much sense, does it? First up for minifigures, we have Lone Ranger and Tonto, who appear in the majority of the Lone Ranger sets. Tonto is not in the smallest one, and then both of them have different versions in the Mine set, but otherwise these are in every set. And, being one of the cheaper sets in the Wave, this is one of the cheaper ways to get them, and this is the cheapest way to get that pocket watch print, which is kind of a cool thing, 1x1 tile, and it's kind of important to Tonto's character, so it's a cool thing to get. Lone Ranger just has his traditional Lone Ranger molded revolvers, and Tonto does also have a knife. Tonto does also have this hair mold, which is new for his character, and it's pretty well printed up, and does have a hole on the top, which allows you to insert that crow piece. And he has an alternate face. Lone Ranger doesn't. He does have the new Lone Ranger hat, which is cool. And the printings on their torsos and legs are both pretty good, and the alternate expression on Tonto is pretty good as well, and they both have back printing on their torsos, which is also pretty good. These are both pretty well done figures for the main characters of the sets. It would have been kind of cool, though, if the Lone Ranger had a hat and hair combo mold, but this isn't too bad, and looks pretty respectable. Just would have been a little bit of a nice bonus extra thing. And here on the left we have Barrett, and on the right we have Jesus, and Barrett's hat piece is a recolor of the Lone Rangers in black, which I believe is only in this set. I don't think it appeared in any others. And then Jesus has the Indiana Jones hat in brown, which is a much more common part and color of part. Both of their face prints, I believe, are exclusive to this set, unless one of them might be in one of the other Lone Ranger. No, I think they're both new. The torsos are definitely both new and both pretty good. The one on the left on Barrett looks pretty similar to a bunch of other torsos that they've done, and a couple from the Lone Ranger theme, but it is different. Both their leg pieces do appear on figures in other sets. Other members of the Cavendish gang, I think, in Colby City Showdown, and unless one of them is on Kyle from the Mine. But both the back printings on the torsos look good, and obviously neither of them is an alternate facial expression because their hats would allow you to see it. And Jesus does have the neck scarf piece, which I think looks really good for him. And last but definitely not least is Red Harrington, and she's probably the most interesting figure in the set. She is definitely exclusive and has a brand new hair mold as well as a brand new little hat mold that attaches to that hair mold. I don't believe the hair mold was ever reused, but the hat was in the Lego Movie minifigure series for that Calamity Drone figure. But this actually looks pretty respectable compared to the character in the movie. The white leg is a little bit more obvious here than it is in the movie, but it is printed, which is kind of cool, and it's supposed to be a prosthetic leg. But I don't think the white went up all the way. I think it was kind of like covered by the skirt thing, which we do have a representation of the little skirt piece, but it is a cape that goes around the minifigure's legs. So it's like a skirt piece, but not one that's meant to wrap all the way around, which is interesting. It's kind of a cool little design, and I don't think they've really done that too much. I think all of the ones that they've done recently fold around the side and don't, kind of create this large poofy shape. But the torso printing for her is pretty good, and it looks pretty respectable. And she does have back printing on her torso, even though she does have the cape on the back as well, and she does have two facial expressions. And this scared one looks pretty good. And yeah, the front facial expression is a little bit weird, though it sort of fits with the character. It just kind of looks a little bit mischievous or something. And this hat piece is really well printed, but it does just attach via one of the same mini peg holes that Tonto's Crow attaches with. But overall, this is a pretty cool figure. She does also have one of the Lone Ranger guns in gunmetal gray, which is a slightly less common color for that part. Overall, I think that for the day that this was released, this was a really fantastic set, and I think that the value of it was definitely really good back then, and it's still not too bad nowadays. You can get it for like 40 to 50 used, which isn't that bad. And I think that the 3 exclusive figures are all pretty good. Red especially is a really, really well done one. And the build is pretty nice as well. Plus, you do get the 3 horses still, which is always a good thing. I don't think that it is the standout set from the Lone Ranger wave. I guess in terms of value, it probably was back then. I don't think nowadays this is the one that you have to go out of your way to get. And I think it's probably the worst one that I have so far, which is all about the smallest two. But that being said, it's not bad at all, and I definitely would recommend it. I'd give it like it's a solid 8 out of 10 set. Yeah, the features are fine. The build feels a little bit flimsy because of the weird suspension. Like it feels like, I don't know, it doesn't feel as robust as I think it would were it built nowadays, and the steering up front is a little bit weird how it sometimes wants to do that, which doesn't make sense. But like you can definitely display this pretty well, and it seems like it would be pretty decent for play. But I think the big thing here is the horses and the minifigures. So hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know if you guys have the set or if you like it and would consider buying it. And yeah, I'll see you guys all next time. Bye, everyone.